Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim Gusby. Thank you for joining us on WSAV News 3 today at 11. It is Hump Day, and we are so glad we're right in the middle of the work week. Here's a live look from our Savannah cam out over Tybee Island. Storm Team 3 meteorologist Alyssa Carsley's in the Weather Center with a look at our forecast. First, good morning, Alyssa.
Hey, good morning, Kim. As we head towards lunchtime, we're still tracking a mixture of sunshine and clouds like you just saw across the Tybee camera. A little bit of blue sky out there. Hopefully, if the Artemis II launch goes as well as planned, later on this evening, we'll be able to see in the breaks in the clouds. That happens around 6:24. So our viewing across the southeast to the coastline will be right around 6:25. Though as of right now, we're still tracking that southeasterly wind. You can see a few rain showers off the Jacksonville coastline. That will gradually head our way as we start to see that pattern move in throughout the day tomorrow into our Friday. Though for our Wednesday, we can't rule out a quick sprinkle at times. Otherwise, just tracking a few peaks of sunshine. Temperatures right now in the 70s at 74 degrees in Savannah to 72 degrees in Pembroke and 79 degrees in Beaufort. Over the next couple of hours, back into the low 80s, just like yesterday, with that mixture of sunshine and clouds continuing. 82 degrees by 2 o'clock, and then we'll stay in the low to mid 80s through this evening before we quietly cool back down to the 50s and 60s as we head into very early tomorrow morning. Staying above average once again today at 83 degrees in Savannah to 81 degrees in Richmond Hill. Then as we head into the next couple of days, the pattern stays nearly the same, a near repeat from tomorrow into our Friday, all ahead of our Easter Sunday cold front. We'll talk about that coming up the next time you see me in the complete Storm Team 3 forecast.
Thank you, Alyssa. Topping our news this morning, the war in Iran rages on as we mark 1 month of violence overseas. More than 3,000 lives have been lost so far, and President Donald Trump suggests the conflict could be over within 2 weeks, even as he moved to bring thousands more troops to the region. Robert Sherman is in the midst of it all as attacks continue escalating.
We have witnessed constant pressure from Iran throughout the morning here in Israel, with a number of ballistic missile barrages coming our way. That includes some impacts across central Israel, with health authorities saying at least 25 people were injured in some of these blasts that we have seen around the country. But we have also seen Iranian threats targeting the entirety of the Middle East, with Qatar coming out today and saying one of their oil tankers was struck in Qatari waters by an Iranian ballistic missile. We have continued to see Iran threatening tankers and ships that have been in or near the Strait of Hormuz. It has been one of their major pressure points to the global economy, with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard saying they're prepared to up that pressure. Starting today, they say that they will view 18 American companies with presences here in the Middle East as legitimate targets, some of them tech giants like NVIDIA and Palantir and Meta, just to name a few of those companies there, saying that any strikes that would be carried out on those companies would be in retaliation for the strikes that have assassinated Iranian leaders. Meanwhile, there's the possibility of more parties entering this fight, with the Wall Street Journal reporting that the UAE is considering forcing the Strait of Hormuz open and is weighing a willingness to join the fight. If they were to join these operations here, they would become the first Gulf state in order to become a formal combatant. They have publicly said that they don't believe that Iran can be left with the current level of capabilities that they have to threaten neighboring countries with ballistic missiles or global commerce going through the Strait of Hormuz.
That was Robert Sherman reporting. President Trump will provide an update on the war in Iran during a primetime address tonight. Tune in to WSAV News 3 and NBC's live coverage of the president's speech beginning at 9 o'clock, hosted by Tom Lamas and the rest of the NBC News team. Again, that is 9 o'clock tonight right here on WSAV. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and community advocates are helping raise awareness with a visual reminder in one of Savannah's most iconic landmarks. Earlier this morning, Coastal Children's Advocacy Center held its annual Blue Ribbon Tying event in Forsyth Park. Each year, the organization ties blue ribbons around the park's oak trees as a symbol to help raise awareness and promote the prevention of child abuse. Advocates say it's also crucial to help keep the lines of communication open.
It's important to talk to kids. It's important to look and see if something changed with them, notice if their demeanor changed, if their grades are slipping, if they're coming home. We all know teenagers like to be in their room, but now if they're in their room a lot. So hey, everything okay? What's going on? If you guys can talk about school, you guys can talk about child abuse.
The ribbons will remain on display in Forsyth Park until April 15th. In a follow-up this morning, we are learning more about a deadly stabbing in Effingham County last month. Authorities have now officially identified the suspect and the victim. The victim is 28-year-old Chapin McCree, and the suspect is 48-year-old James Barla. The incident happened back on March 18th in the 4400 block of Blue Jay Road. Officials say the two men got into a fight that left both men with stab wounds. McCree later died at the hospital. Barla is now facing several charges, including felony and malice murder and aggravated assault. Of course, we'll continue following this case for you and provide any updates both on air and online. On now to continuing coverage this morning. The Fort Stewart soldier accused of shooting 5 fellow soldiers on post last year has changed his plea to guilty. Sergeant Cornelius Radford returned to a courtroom yesterday and entered the plea in connection to the mass shooting last August. Radford is accused of firing multiple rounds, hitting 2 soldiers in the chest and another in the stomach. He claims a shot was intended for another soldier, but he dodged it. He also said he then fired blindly into a nearby room, injuring a woman in the arm and side before fleeing down the hall and shooting a man in the face when he opened the door. The gunfire came to an end when other soldiers subdued Radford, disarming him. The judge accepted Radford's guilty plea for the 6 offenses, but will delay sentencing until June, when the charges he has pleaded not guilty to, including premeditated murder, will be addressed. All eyes will be on the Sunshine State throughout the day. In just a few hours, history is expected to be made with the launch of Artemis 2. The spacecraft will approach the moon, marking the first time this has happened in more than half a century. You are taking a live look right now from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Artemis 2's mission is expected to last less than 10 days and marks humanity's first lunar flight since 1972. The moon will also be welcoming its first woman, first person of color, and first non-American. Christina Koch already holds the record for the longest single space flight by a woman during her 328-day mission at the International Space Station spanning 2019 and 2020. She took part in the first all-female spacewalk. Victor Glover, a Navy test pilot, was the first black astronaut to live and work aboard the space station in 2020 and 2021. He was also one of the first astronauts to launch with SpaceX, and Jeremy Hansen is a former fighter pilot and member of the Canadian Space Agency. Launch time is scheduled around 6:24 this evening.